Hi, my name is Néstor Wagner. I wanted to talk to you about how AI is going to affect the interpreting profession overall. Everybody's talking about AI at this moment, and most people are very afraid of AI. There are many interpreters out there that think that AI is going to replace them. Many interpreters feel that there won't be any need for any human interpreters and everything will be done through AI and through machines. And this is not necessarily true. This is more like imagination because it's not going to be like that. In my experience, AI is going to help the interpreter. It's going to make our life much easier. It's going to allow us to obtain information much quicker than what we are obtaining, the way we are obtaining it right now. AI can be very, very risky if you use AI using information in the public domain. And the reason why it's risky is because if you go and type a word and you ask him how to translate that into whatever language, you may get the correct answer, but you may not get the correct answer. I published an article on how what are the areas where the AI completely fails in the transfer of terms or phrases from one language into the other. And there are many areas, but the most important areas have to do with localization of the terms. And localization is something that some interpreters are familiar with. Many of them, unfortunately, are not. But it basically says that it's not just the word, but it's basically the message that matters. And you can have you can ask AI at the present time to transfer, let's say, into whatever language the judge violated the defendant, and you're going to get the answer in that language that says the judge raped the defendant. But we know in the legal field that the judge violated the defendant doesn't mean that the judge raped the defendant, but rather that the judge determined that the defendant violated his probation or parole. That understanding that we human interpreters have, it's not possible for AI to have at the present time because it has to be fed that knowledge. So if you go to GPT and type how do you translate that, it's going to give you the incorrect answer because you are actually searching in the public domain. Now, AI will become extremely powerful for all of us interpreters when you can type a question, but it goes to a knowledge base that contains information from a reputable place, like an institution, a school. And it's not a matter of just uploading glossaries and words, because that's not going to help either, simply because the sense of localization is so important, and localization is heavily dependent on context. If you just only upload words, there is no way for localization to be part of the transfer. And this is where AI fails. In my article, we try different type of options for AI, and we tested into Spanish, but it's basically going to be the same thing into any language. And many of the transfers really made no sense. Anything that requires localization made no sense. So, for example, transfers such as he is moving at a snail pace was difficult to transfer by AI because, for example, in Spanish we don't use snail, we use turtle pace, and in other countries you will use different things, and that's actually known as localization. It is raining cats and dogs, for example. If you don't comprehend the meaning of it and you have the equivalent term, then you will not be able to transfer it correctly. You may transfer only the words. AI, in these cases, for idiomatic expressions, tend to use a reasonable transfer. But when it comes to specialized field, like legal particularly, the legal field, they have a lot of deficiencies. And the transfers tend to be unlocalized, and the transfers tend to be inaccurate. So there is no risk that they're going to replace us. Besides, one of the most important thing is that the defendants in a criminal case or anybody who appears before a judge has the right to have a human interpreter, not a machine. And that is a right that the person has. And as a result of that, no matter how many machines you have, it has to be a person. But look at it from this point of view. AI can help that interpreter that is doing that job dramatically. I mean, a lot. Because if there is a problem with any word or anything, then the answer could be there, right there for the interpreter. And of course, that answer has to be obtained through a model that it is reliable, meaning a model that was fed with the necessary knowledge base coming from a reputable entity, school, or whatever the case is, not from the public domain. So I wouldn't worry too much about AI replacing medical interpreters, legal interpreters, civil interpreters, criminal interpreters, immigration interpreters. I wouldn't worry too much about that at the present time. It is possible that AI may replace interpreters that basically deal with basic type of communication. Because in that case, it's not specialized, and therefore localization is not that critical. So, having said that, don't be afraid of AI. Just use it. It's going to help you. It's going to make your job easier, and it will not only make your job easier, but it will be your friend overall in your profession instead of being your enemy. Think of AI as a dictionary that can think and that can combine the terms, and you as the interpreter have the final word. So you can use it for certain things, but then you should know, well, this transfer is incorrect because it hasn't been localized. What you have to be worried more than anything else is that you have to train yourself to understand that that interpreting is not the art of transferring words, but the art of transferring messages. And if you train, you take necessary courses, you take courses on localization of legal terms to Mexico, Central America, South America, in the case of Spanish, you will be in a position that you can work with AI. Because if you don't do that, if you only know the meaning of terms without localization, then the competition between AI and you is going to be won by AI. Because AI can actually retrieve these terms much faster than you. So the weakness in AI is lack of localization. So that has to be your strength. So don't be too worried about it. Just be worried more about learning localization, learning the proper transfers in terms of context, and don't worry about AI. It's not going to be your enemy. It's going to be your friend. But you have to perform at the level of AI when it comes to localization in the transfers. Thank you.